Hey everyone! A lot of us build homemade small machines for our home workshops. Usually, these are all sorts of small drill presses, grinders, or sanders that are always handy to have around the house. These machines are put together from whatever's available, and as a motor, people often use a universal motor from a washing machine. These motors are simple in design, provide fairly high RPMs, and have enough power for the machines I mentioned. The most important thing is that they're cheap, and sometimes you can even get them for free. It's a simple brushed motor with electromagnetic excitation. It's an open-type motor, but that usually isn't a problem. So the shaft speed on these motors is pretty high, over 10,000 RPM, and to use it, you'll definitely need a speed controller. As a rule, simple controllers have one major drawback. They don't stabilize the RPMs or maintain power. In other words, if you put a load on the shaft, the motor will just stop. This drawback makes it impossible, for example, to use the motor in a drill press if you need to drill at low speeds, and so on. Today, I'll show you a simple speed controller design for these kinds of motors that provides soft start, RPM stabilization, and, of course, the ability to adjust the rotation speed. This design lets you set the desired RPM on the shaft, and no matter how much load is on the motor, or even if there's no load at all, the speed will stay stable. The board is built around the TDA 1085 chip, which is a classic choice for this kind of application. There are many different versions and modifications of speed controller circuits based on this chip. Now, about our particular design. The entire setup is built on a factory-made printed circuit board measuring 100 by 98 millimeters. If you also want your projects to look great and resemble a finished factory product, you can trust Next PCB. This is a huge factory that not only manufactures high-quality printed circuit boards of any complexity, shape, and size, including flexible boards and boards with aluminum or copper bases, but also offers board assembly services. Their high-precision industrial machines can produce anything from simple single or double-sided boards to extremely complex multi-layer boards with up to 40 layers. You can choose the solder mask, the type of trace coating, the thickness of the traces, and the fiberglass laminate. Numerous additional options will help you create boards that comply with European and international directives. The company offers flexible discounts as well as a variety of payment and shipping methods. And as always, you'll find the link to the Next PCB website in the description. Basically, this is nothing more than a phase impulse controller. The 1085 chip directly controls the power triac. The idea is to cut off part of the sine wave. This way, we change the power delivered to the motor, but there are some nuances and features involved. In short, the circuit has feedback and detects when the RPM drops as the load on the shaft increases. It'll compensate for these drops by increasing the motor's power, meaning that as the load on the shaft increases, less and less of the sine wave will be cut off. So how exactly is the feedback implemented? The microchip has a special input for monitoring speed, and the motor has a tachometer sensor, which is also called a speed sensor. Basically, it's a small generator with a permanent magnet and a winding. The higher the motor's rotation speed, the higher the voltage on the tachometer sensor's winding. Speed adjustment. The microchip has an input for setting the rotation speed. All you need to do is apply an adjustable voltage to this input. This voltage can be limited with an additional trimmer resistor. For example, if you want the motor not to stop, but to run at a certain minimum speed when the main potentiometer slider is at its lowest position, or if you need to limit the maximum speed. Another trimmer resistor controls how smoothly the motor accelerates. The microchip can monitor the power line and detect when a sine wave crosses zero. This is a necessary condition if you want proper control of the triac and to maintain power, not just adjust it. The triac is the power component. It's the one that actually controls the motor. The triac's power rating depends on the power of the motor you choose. 16-amp triacs work well for these types of motors, but in my case, I'm using a BTA41. It's always good to have a safety margin. The board includes a snubber RC circuit to protect the triac. It's very important to understand that the control circuit is galvanically connected to the mains, so you must not touch the board while it's operating. Now, about powering the circuit. There are different options for powering the low-voltage control system. Sometimes, small iron core transformers with an output voltage of 18 to 20 volts are used for these purposes. The 1085 chip itself has a built-in 15-volt regulator, but in this design, an external linear regulator is used. The power supply is set up using a simple transformerless method based on a ballast current limiting capacitor and a high power Zener diode. It's important to note that the power supply components will heat up. You need a powerful Zener diode, about 5 watts as shown in the schematic. In my case, I used a powerful 24-volt Zener diode in a metal case. There are a couple LEDs on the board, one for power indication and one for the tachometer sensor. Now, let's run a few tests. Here's how the motor runs at low speeds when using standard speed controllers without power stabilization. You can easily stop the shaft. And now operation at low speeds with our stabilizer board. The speed adjustment's really smooth, with no jerks. All that's left is to put the board in a case, and it's ready to use. Well, friends, the video's coming to an end. Just a reminder, as always, you'll find the complete project archive in the description. Don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. That's all for me for now. See you next time. Bye.